So you finished the outline, you have your flat colors done, and now it's time to add shadow and light to your drawing. So what do? You use white color for light and black color for shadow. There is nothing wrong with that, of course, but today I'm going to show you what different colors and techniques you can use to add shadow and light to your illustration. So let's get into it. When you open your color wheel, you can use this one or you can use the harmony one, like this. You want to pick color of your light. So let's say our light source is yellow, so let's put it here. And now on the other side, you have a complementary color, which is this dark blue color. And this will be the color of your shadow. If you want, you can move this around a little bit, around this area, make it lighter, darker, less or more saturated, and also change the hue a little bit. But in general, you should stay around this area here. You can also tap here and change it to split complementary, and this way you will have here these two colors selected that are on the opposite side of the color wheel for your light source. And this way you will have here those two colors that you can pick for your shadow. And of course you can change them a little bit like I said before. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the complementary color wheel, and my light source will be this color. And now let's open the layers, and my illustration is split into a few layers. This is nothing there, sorry, let me delete it. So the top layer is the outline, and then we have layers with different colored parts. So let's start adding the light to them. I'm going to create a new layer and tap on it and set it to clipping mask. And this way now anything I will draw on this layer will be visible only on the area of the layer underneath it. The brush here I'm going to use will be monoline, and first I will just mark the area that will be hit by the light. And of course, to do that, first you have to know where your light is coming from. So my light will be coming from this way, this direction. So we'll have light here on the cactus, then here, like this, and a little bit here. Now let's open the layers and do the same for other colors. I'm going to skip adding light to the soil, there will be no light in there. But let's move to the layer under it, so the back of the pot. Let's create a new layer above it and set it to clipping mask. Now let's add the light there. There will be just a little bit of light here, like this. And now the layer with pot. Let's create a new layer above it, set it to clipping mask. And I'm going to draw a light on it. Very thin line on top. And then some light here on the side. So these are the lights on my illustration, and now let's add shadows. And for the shadows I will be creating new layers above each colored part. Let's go to the colors now and pick the color of the shadow. So like I said, I'm going to pick the color that is opposite from the yellow color, so this blue one, and I will just slightly make it more saturated like this. Okay, so let's add the shadow to the pot. Oops, let's make that layer also a clipping mask, don't forget that. And now I'm adding the shadow. Now let's do the same for the other parts. So for the back of the pot, let's create a new layer above it, set it to clipping mask, and draw shadow over there. Now let's create a new layer above the cactus, above the lights for the cactus, set it to clipping mask, and we are drawing shadow over there. And also let's add some shadow to the soil in the pot. So let's create a new layer above it, set it to clipping mask, and now I'll draw some shadow there. Okay, something like this. So now of course I'm not going to leave those colors like this, because this looks maybe nice but maybe a little bit crazy. So we have to change the blending mode of the layers with the shadow and light. But before I will do that, I'm going to group all of those layers and I will duplicate them twice, so later I can show you how you can change the colors of your lights and shadow and the difference that it will make. So let me just do it quickly. So now we're going to have 3 cactus like this. And for now I'm going to hide those two that I just added. Let's go back to the original cactus, and now we can work on that shadow and light. So for the shadows, let's start with the shadow on the cactus. Let's tap on it here on the enlarger. And now we can change the blending mode. For shadows, let's use the multiply blending mode, and we can turn down the opacity to whatever we like. I'm going to make it 30%. Now to make this look maybe a little bit lighter and softer, we can add here a Gaussian blur effect. So let's go to the adjustments, tap on Gaussian blur, and swipe your pencil on the screen to add the blur size. Let's make it 10%. And now we have to do the same for all the other shadow layers. So let's tap on this one here, changing to multiply, turn down the opacity to 30%, and now add Gaussian blur. I will make it also 10%. Now let's move on to the next layer of shadows, change it to multiply, and turn down the opacity to 30%. Now Gaussian blur, and the last layer of shadow, the shadow on the pot, let's change it to multiply, turn down the opacity to 30%, and add Gaussian blur. Here I'm going to make the Gaussian blur a little bit bigger. Let's make it 14%. Okay, so the shadows are taken care of. Now we have to do something with the layers with the light. So let's tap on this one, and here we are going to change the blending mode to something with the light. So we can pick soft light, hard light, vivid light, linear light, or pin light. I'm going to use hard light. And of course, let's turn down the opacity. Here maybe let's make it something around 35%. And for this one, we are going to use Gaussian blur as well. Let's make the size 10%. So now let's move on to the other layers with the light and do the same. So change the blending mode to hard light, turn down the opacity to 35% and add Gaussian blur, size 10%. And now last layer of light. So now this cactus looks like this. We can see clearly there is light and shadow on it. Now I'm going to show you how this would look like if you pick different color for light. So let's bring back our second cactus. And here I'm going to quickly change the colors of the light and shadow. To do that, I'm tapping on the layer of the light, tapping again and picking select. Now I have here at the bottom color fill option selected. So now I can just change the color here. Let's make the light color maybe something blue like this. And the color on the cactus changed. So now we have to do it for the other layers of the light. Tap on it, pick select, and it changed automatically. Now this one, tap on it, select, and it's blue now. Now let's change the shadow color. Let's tap on the layer of the shadow, pick select, and let's change the color of the shadow. So we have to take this color. Now it's set to kind of like between red and orange. Let's make it a little bit more orange, and I'm going to make it a little bit darker. So my color for the shadow is this one now. I'm going to the layers and I will change all the layers with the shadow for this color. And now, like before, I'm going to change the blending modes and opacity of all of those layers. So for the layers with shadows, I'm going to change the blending mode to multiply and opacity to 30%. And of course, I'm adding the Gaussian blur too. So let me do it quickly here. Okay, and now for the layers of the light, let's change them to hard light and opacity 35%. And again Gaussian blur. Okay, now I'm going to do it quickly for the next layer of light. And this is how it looks now. I wonder which one do you like more, left or right? Please let me know in the comments. I like the one with the blue light a lot. And now, before we finish, I would like to show you how this would look like if we used white color for the light and black color for the shadows. So I'm going to bring back my third cactus, and quickly I'm going to swap the colors to the black and white. So I'm changing quickly all the layers to the shadow for the black color. And now, right away, I'm going to change the blending modes to multiply, and I will add the Gaussian blur. Okay, and now it's time for the layers with the light. Let's change the color to white color, and I'm going to change the blending mode to hard light and turn down the opacity to 35% and add Gaussian blur. Okay, so this is how it would look like if we used white color for the light and black color for the shadow. I'm not saying it's bad, but I think the ones with the colored light and shadow look more interesting. If you decide to use white and black color for shadows, I recommend you changing the blending mode to overlay. Let me show you. So here for the light, I'm going to change the blending mode to overlay. So now as you can see, this is more like a light green color, a lighter version of the color that is underneath it. And now for the shadows, let's change it also to overlay. And this will change it to the darker version of the color underneath it. So now it's like a dark green color. Okay, I'm not going to change the other colors, I just wanted to show you what is a better blending mode to use if you want to use white and black for the shadow and light. I hope you enjoyed this video and this was helpful for you. Please let me know in the comments, and if you'd like to see more videos like this, more art tips, step-by-step drawing tutorials, please subscribe to my channel. I would be very happy to see you here. Also, I invite you to follow me on my Instagram and on my Facebook and join my Facebook group too. Thank you for watching and see you in my next video. Bye!